Microdose, yeah, Microdose. Hosted by Kush Hayes and Robyn Seto. Talking the talk, cause they got things for you to know. Let's go party with Miss Robyn in the games on Cameo. Yeah, Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. Microdose, Microdose, dose, dose. What gets us next? Go and take a guess. No matter who it is, every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. Every episode's the best. If you disagree, you're crazy, simple as chess. Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
Can you hear that? You hear the rumbling? That's the sound of greatness. That's the sound of the showcase of the Immortals. It is WrestleMania weekend, y'all. It is that time, the Super Bowl of pro wrestling, coming to you once again from WWE World Wrestling Entertainment. And what better location than the City of Champions, Inglewood, California, at the SoFi Stadium. But we got a little bit more than that here. Do my eyes deceive me? Oh my God, who is that? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Robyn Seto. Miss Robyn, if you're nasty. Robyn, what's good?
Hey, it's good to be back. It's crazy. I've been traveling the world.
Wonderful.
Looking for treasure.
Oh.
But I thought I'd stop by for WrestleMania and have a little bit of a party with my old buddy Kush Hayes.
That's what's up. I couldn't be more excited to have you here, Robyn. It's been 15 months. Last time we saw you, Christmas Eve, 2021. But the hits keep on coming, Robyn. Like you said, it is WrestleMania weekend. And bringing back another guest to the show, he is a part of Championship Wrestling, presented by Car Shield on the United Wrestling Network, West Coast Pro Wrestling, and with a bunch of events this weekend, Circle 6. James Kincaid, everybody. Welcome back to the show, James. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me back. And yeah, it's awesome. I mean, this time of year, as a person in pro wrestling, as a still a fan of professional wrestling, this time of year, WrestleMania season, it's so exciting. So I'm thrilled to be here and be talking wrestling with you, with a NorCal Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer, no less, too. Because if memory serves, last time I was on here, that had not yet happened. I believe.
That's right. That happens like 6 months later.
Yeah. So congratulations again on that.
Thank you.
Super awesome. And so, yeah, in the presence of greatness, and I try and enjoy every brush with greatness I get. And Robyn, it's great to virtually meet you as well and be talking a little wrestling. So thank you for having me.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you did, I'll just wear my NorCal Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame medallion here.
Absolutely. Should wear that all the time. Yes. Let them know.
Maybe at the big events. Here. So, yeah, Robyn, it's WrestleMania weekend. Now, I'm a fuddy-duddy. I'm a little bit out of the loop, despite all the accolades that James just talked about. Like, I don't know shit about pro wrestling anymore. The squared circle has not been my bag, baby. So when I'm going over the card, I'm just, again, 75% of the names I don't recognize. I did watch the Royal Rumble back in January. I apparently missed the main event because, again, it's called the Royal Rumble. So when I saw the second Royal Rumble, that should have been it. It also had been 4 hours. So I was done with the night and then found out, like, oh, no, Kush, you missed Roman Reigns and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't think I did miss anything.
Oh, you did. I must quibble. It was a very good main event. In fact, I watched that with my girlfriend, and she grew up a wrestling fan, but like you, she's sort of not as tapped into it now. But the drama really appealed to her. Like it hit. Like it was what Roman Reigns has been doing and what Sami Zayn has been doing, and now Cody. I gotta say the drama level, the storytelling going on right now at WWE, it's at a pretty big high point right now. So shame on you.
I'll hang my head in shame. I am shamed. But I've only been to one WrestleMania. That was the WrestleMania in Santa Clara. I think it's number 31.
Correct.
And I remember them having a hard time selling that show out. I believe they still said it was sold out, but there was plenty of empty seats there. And then, fool that I am, I was like, it's WrestleMania. So I'm going to get these tickets that I want. and I'm going to get 2 more sets of tickets, and I'm going to sell that shit for a grip. And couldn't get rid of them because they kept releasing tickets and they never sold out. And I was just like, all right, I guess I'm going to eat the cost of these.
Best laid plans.
Yeah, well, definitely laid to waste there. But it was a fun show. But again, drank way too much because it was a 7-hour event. The one match that night I was looking forward to, Sting versus Triple H. That was the one I was like, this is the one that I spent my money for. Got so hammered that I remember seeing the NWO come in. I remember seeing DX come in, but I had to thumb through the photos the next day, like, oh shit, Hulk Hogan was there. Like, lifelong around. I didn't even realize that. Like, I had good seats, dude. Like, I wasn't in the nosebleed. Like, like
rough.
I mean, it was one of those days. I hated the ending. I hated Seth Rollins cashing in that briefcase.
Didn't like it. Wow.
And was not stoked about the main event either. I was like, Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. No, or it was Roman Reigns. Excuse me.
It was Roman and Brock, but Seth cashed in, turned it into a triple threat.
And it was just like,
So I got a funny story about that WrestleMania, actually, if I may. And I forget, am I allowed to cuss on this or no?
Fuck yeah.
Okay. So that was the first WrestleMania I attended as press. All the other times I had gone, as a fan, which I'm doing again this year. So I'm actually super excited about that. But so this is my first one going press. We're in the press box seating at Levi Stadium. Nice. A quick aside in terms of why it wasn't sold out, I blame the 49ers because they didn't really have a good product at the time, so nobody was used to going to Levi Stadium for anything good. So I credit WWE for bringing the crowd out finally to Levi's. Just kidding, 49ers fans. But anyway, so I'm in the press box and being part of the sports radio world and stuff that I am, knowing what the decorum is in the press box and everything, and thinking that, oh boy, this is going to be kind of an interesting experience because you're not really supposed to cheer. You're supposed to be very sort of professional in the press box and everything. And I was like, but this is WrestleMania. Is it going to be like that? I'm excited, free entry to WrestleMania, but I want to get after it and be, excited. So I was kind of, I had some trepidation about what the vibe was going to be like in the press box. And I'm playing it straight, we're sitting there, and first match, a holy shit chant breaks out in the press box. I'm like, all right, I'm with my people. This is fine. This is going to be great. So, and it was an awesome time. And I got to give a lot of credit to WWE for how they treat everybody in the media and the press. Like it was really first class. And they started bringing out, during the show, like legends and stuff like that to come and say hi. Like, Sergeant Slaughter came through, Bob Backlund came through, put me in the crossface chicken wing. It was a great time. So, it was hats off to them for sure. That's
incredible, dude. Like, what was the beverage situation like? Are we talking about just coffee and sodas, or was there some champagne and some Bud Light flowing?
That's a good question. I don't recall if they had a full bar going up there. They definitely had a full spread of catering and stuff like that up there. But that was another one of those situations where I wasn't looking for any of the alcohol because, again, it was my first time being there as press. So I was like,
professional,
very, very buttoned up and everything like that. I mean, I definitely helped myself to the catering, but it was a good time. And that's one of those memories that I'll always cherish and remember because I was kind of, nervous about what the cheering situation was going to be like in the press box. And first match, holy shit chance. So I was like, all right, cool.
Where I was going with the story about WrestleMania 31, again, they could never sell it out despite what they said. Tickets kept getting released, but now we're in a phase of WWE where, in theory, WrestleMania is a week long with all the events and all the fan access and et cetera, et cetera. But now the actual event is 2 nights long, and that is a lot of goddamn wrestling. Like, again, WrestleMania 31 was 7-8 hours long, and that's not including the dark matches. Do we need 2 nights of wrestling? Have they just compounded it to 4 or 2 4-hour events, or is it still like everything is a spectacle? Now it's every day is 10 hours long.
So I have a lot of strong opinions on that. It has grown exponentially since WrestleMania 31. You were right. I think that, hearkening back to, the years that followed, I'm trying to remember if it was like that for WrestleMania 31. I don't think so. I think it was right after that WrestleCon started following around WrestleMania, which is this great sort of showcase of all these past legends and stuff like that. So really smart business by them to go to the same city that WrestleMania is going to be and have WrestleCon there. Cause you've got the most concentrated group of the diehard fan base right there. I mean, it's honestly, it's brilliant business. But so you got WrestleCon, and then after that, I remember WrestleMania 35, New Japan was doing Madison Square Garden, and with WWE, you've got NXT as well that's doing like their big show the night before. You've got the Hall of Fame for WWE, all these events and stuff like that. So I remember even before they moved it at WrestleMania to being 2 nights long, I was like, that is a lot of stuff. Like, I mean, it's so much fun. But when your adrenaline as a wrestling fan is redlining for an entire week, whew, man, that is like the crash was severe. And there was just no time to really do anything else. And you had to sort of pick and choose. And there's some tough decisions that you have to make. And that's continuing on, with what it is now. And speaking to, the length of WrestleMania itself and the show now being 2 nights. I remember WrestleMania 35 in New York. I actually think it was a great show, and for how long it was, because I believe it was the longest WrestleMania on record. It felt very well paced, and that was the one where Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey main evented. It was the first time the women ever main evented WrestleMania, and it was this huge, awesome moment. Shout out Becky, 2 belts.
But Charlotte came in on a helicopter, right?
Yes, she did. Yes, great knowledge.
Yeah, I saw that event from Portland. I flew up to Portland to see that with a friend, and then sat on a box for 8 hours because that was the longest WrestleMania at the time. I was like, my ass is flat and numb.
And it's so the funny thing about that one is leaving too. They had all these trucks to transport everybody back to New York because it was at MetLife or whatever. And for whatever reason, they weren't opening the doors to the trucks, and it was a torrential downpour. With a line like 3 miles long of people. I'll never forget this, is that there was this wonderful mom and her son that came all the way from Scotland to see WrestleMania, and the kid had no jacket on. It was just wrestling t-shirt and just getting dumped. I felt so bad for him. But so I remember leaving that thing. I was like, it's a little long. In spite of the fact that I felt that was a very well-paced WrestleMania for it being the longest on record. But I started thinking about what New Japan does with Wrestle Kingdom, which was like, that's a 2-night event. And I said, that's kind of an interesting idea, because if they're going to continue having WrestleMania be this long, I'd rather them split it into 2 nights. So when they first did this, I was actually very pro the idea before it even came into being. And I was like, it makes total sense. Control the entire weekend also, and make it the WrestleMania this 2-night affair. My opinion has sort of evolved since then, though. I don't know if it's as good as I thought it would be as a 2-night event, because you dilute it a little bit. Be like, oh, this is main eventing night 1, this is main eventing night 2. Is that really a main event? All this stuff that we fans love to debate about and everything like that. I do think it has worked, but as an old school sort of purist, I've also sort of rediscovered the feeling myself that not every match should be on WrestleMania. Like WrestleMania really should be kept special, and for matches that are sort of
earn your spot.
Yeah, worthy of being on that stage. And that's not to say that anybody that is featured on there is not deserving or worthy, but going back and watching older WrestleManias and everything, it's like every match on there had like a story and a build to it for the most part, and it's kind of that, it when you see it, like, yes, that's a WrestleMania match and stuff like that, or that if it's just tacked on, I'd rather not do it, and maybe cut the runtime down to a max of 5 hours, 5 hours, and 1 night again, and that way, because it's affected everything else too now, because NXT Stand and Deliver is Saturday morning.
Saturday morning,
they do
Jesus.
they or Saturday afternoon they do SmackDown, and the SmackDown's going to roll right into the Hall of Fame. So it's like all these different kinds of things. So it's really changed the timelines quite a bit doing the 2 nights. So I'm actually, as of press time right now, I'm kind of in favor of going back to 1 night, and that is my very long-winded answer about that.
So like, again, like I started this statement out with like WrestleMania is technically a week long, but it's not. While everything is still leading to that WrestleMania on Sunday, still you like, oh, Monday we're at the King of Indies. Oh, Tuesday we're watching New Japan. Oh, that rapper Wale, he's got a show because he's a big fan. We're gonna look at that. Oh, now we're at the Hall of Fame. Oh, now we're at NXT. Oh, now we're at WrestleMania, and now we're at Raw the next day. Like when I go to WrestleMania on Saturday, and then I go back to WrestleMania on Sunday, it was like, oh, I'm still here.
Do you have anything left?
Yeah.
Do you have anything left? Especially when, Circle 6 is starting our programming on Thursday afternoon at 2:00. We're going all the way through. I'm going to be on several of those shows, and then we do Friday, and we cap it off Saturday night with Barroom Blitz. So, there's a lot of good stuff going on. Hashtag C6 Live, just my shameless plug there for what I'll be doing down WrestleMania week.
No shame in your game, baby. Robyn Seto. Miss Robyn, if you're nasty, let's start off with you. Is there anything that you're looking at the card that you're just like, wow, I cannot wait to download the Peacock app or go to a friend's house and use their app and watch this?
I'm not really. I feel like WWE is the one big promotion that I don't currently watch. Okay. But it was the 3-way match between a bunch of meaty guys.
Oh,
Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. And
yep.
I at least know that those are all hunky, chunky, not fat, but
I believe those are some chunky boys, as the kids
There's
say.
some brick house boys right there. So
right.
that sounds like a good time in my book.
Who are the Europeans fighting, Jims?
So it's for the Intercontinental Championship. It's Gunther, Drew McIntyre, my fellow Scotsman, and Sheamus, all set to duke it out in a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. And that one honestly should be really good. Drew and Sheamus have had great matches together. Sheamus and Gunther have had great matches together. And so they're all sort of colliding here at WrestleMania. And I do think that match is a sneaky contender to steal the show in terms of match quality and everything like that. They should put on one heck of a show. And I think the company is very high on all 3 of those guys right now. I think that, all of them in their own right deserve a tip of the cap for what they've been able to accomplish. Sheamus has been able to, really prove that he has some serious staying power in WWE and has accomplished so much. Drew McIntyre, to go from being, Vince's quote chosen one to leaving to the independent circuit, doing the Impact thing, reinventing himself, coming back, going through NXT, up to the main roster, becoming WWE champion. Like what a study in perseverance he is. And Gunther is really, to borrow from Brock Lesnar, as they had their stare down at the Royal Rumble, could be the next big thing for them. And I think how he has been presented, the whole stuff with Imperium, he's really transformed his body this past year too, and has had a really great run with the Intercontinental Championship, and was, the last guy standing in between Cody Rhodes winning the Royal Rumble. And, he went, almost wire to wire there. So all 3 of those guys have done really, really well for themselves.
Do we know if that's going to be night 1 or night 2?
I have not seen the update on whether that or not that's night 1 or night 2. I do know that they announced the U.S. title match is going to be night 1. He's going to be kicking things off. So the booker in me says that if you have U.S. title on night 1, have Intercontinental on night 2, just to split them up. But who knows?
I mean, yeah, for every rule that you think exists, they just go like, meh, don't worry about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's pro wrestling. I don't know if you're Calvin and Hobbes fans, but it's like Calvin Ball. You can just sort of make it up as you go along.
As I was coming up in the business, it would also, the phrase of, yeah, that's lucha for you.
I like it.
I'm very interested in the U.S. Championship, John Cena versus the champion, Austin Theory. One, are we to assume that John Cena is just promoting Fast X? And two, like, U.S. Championship, like, that's do we expect John Cena to beat Austin Theory, or is he putting him over? Like, could we expect a championship run with John Cena? Like, what do you think?
So this is an interesting question. I would like to think that conventional wisdom says John Cena is showing up there and going to give Austin Theory the rub and sort of pass the torch at WrestleMania, and that would be great. And I do see big things with Austin Theory, and I think he's acquitted himself very well. Obviously, throughout this past year and a half or so, he's gotten a lot of big opportunities. He won Money in the Bank and all that stuff. And now being in a high profile match with John Cena at WrestleMania, who at this point in his life is what, the marquee is all about. I mean, you're taking on John Cena at WrestleMania, who for this generation is one of the most transcendent pro wrestlers there are, one of the biggest names. That's a huge deal for him. The John Cena fan in me hopes that maybe John Cena is going to stick around for more than just one match, and maybe he does in fact beat Austin Theory at WrestleMania, and we can bring back the John Cena U.S. title open challenge, which he did just a few years ago, and that was a lot of fun. And that was sort of a period where John Cena was having some of the best matches of his career week in and week out, and it really was a good time. So I would love to see a title change there. I don't think that because it would also indicate to me that John Cena has more than just one or two matches in him left. And that's my sort of rose-colored glasses looking at it. But again, I think conventional wisdom is that he's going to show up there and Austin Theory by hook or by crook is going to, cheat and beat the doctor of thugonomics, John Cena.
Who was Austin Theory before he came to WWE? Because he's the one name on my list here, my very short list. It was like, you're the only name I don't recognize.
So he was big in the independent scene, and then he was in NXT for a good little while, and they aligned him with Johnny Gargano and Johnny Gargano's group, The Way, and he really showed a lot of sort of entertainment chops while he was down there. Like, he was very much so the sort of musclehead comedic relief of the group. He got kidnapped by Dexter Lumis at one point in the storyline. He showed a lot of sort of just the thespian, the entertainment chops that you need to really sort of be this multifaceted WWE superstar. And I think that the office, seeing that, they probably looked at him and said, oh, he can do everything. He's not just, a guy in the ring. He can do all these skits and everything like that. So I think he showed a lot in NXT, and that's why he sort of got the jump start on the main roster there.
We know that Sunday night is going to end with Roman Reigns and Cody, or at least that's what I'm assuming. Do we know who the main event for Saturday night is going to be? I'm looking at Hell in a Cell, Edge versus Finn Balor, and if that ain't the main event, that's weird.
So the debate that I have seen online amongst the wrestling community,
no one knows,
is that the theory is that Charlotte and Rhea for the SmackDown Women's Championship might be what main events night one. And so that's sort of the prevailing thinking that that's what they're going to do. But I would say the popular choice of what people want to see main event night one, and what I also agree should main event night one, and it would be a nice bookend and theming for the entire weekend, being that Roman Reigns, the head of the table, leader of the Bloodline, is defending his 2 championships on night 2 in the main event. The Bloodline, the Usos, should be defending their unified tag team championships on night 1 in the main event. I think those are the 2 biggest stories. So those should main event the 2 nights of WrestleMania, because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I know you missed the main event at the Royal Rumble, but Sami Zayn's inclusion in the Bloodline has been one of the just absolute outkick your coverage, amazing storylines in recent memory of pro wrestling. It has been so good. It got over so organically that, if you believe the online rumors, it was supposed to be over much more quickly. And they were supposed to pivot to this sort of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn reuniting storyline to take on the Usos. But the fans gravitated to Sami in this so well. They got so attached to it, and he played it so well. Jay and Jimmy played it so well. The entire bloodline, it all worked out so perfectly. You have this guy that is, not related to them by blood, but just, wants to be a part of, very much so like God, David Duvall and The Godfather. He was the consigliere, but he wasn't related to them by blood kind of deal. So it's like, how in can you really be if you're not really part of the family? And they made him an honorary Us, as it were. And he took bullet after bullet for the bloodline to the point where the guy that hated him in the group, Jay Uso, finally accepted him and even got in the way of his excommunication from the bloodline. Be like, no, he's family now. Like, he's a brother. He does what brothers do, only for it to come all the way back around. And at the Royal Rumble, Sami Zayn turn on Roman Reigns because Roman had completely lost it. It's been incredible theater. Like, I mean, just the type of stuff that when, it's as top tier as anything on TV. Last of Us, eat your heart out. I'll watch this any day of the week over there.
Before we get to the main event of night 2, so a few months ago, old Vinnie Mac got in trouble and was somewhat released from his own company. He still has shares and all that jazz, but just he's essentially retired. And now he is back. But in between things, there was rumors about WWE being sold off to a prince or a sheik of Saudi Arabia. Maybe I'm mishearing all of that, but like, is WWE considering selling?
I mean, I don't know any more than anybody else, but I've seen the rumors and stuff like that. So, I mean, I grew up on pro wrestling. I grew up on WWE, and the idea of, the McMahons not running WWE is a very odd concept to me, regardless of how you feel about them. For me, like, if Walt Disney were still alive and he were not running Disney, I'd feel some type of way about that. I feel some type of way about the "you're gonna like the way you look" guy not being a part of Men's Warehouse anymore. It's like there's these sort of icons. It's like, that's your company. It's like Lucius Fox in Batman Begins. The way I feel about it, Mr. Wayne, this is all yours anyway. And so that's kind of how I feel about WWE. Now, the part about the sale, the one thing that actually intrigued me was with the Saudi rumor, which I think was debunked. But if it's true, I think it might be the best possible option, is that they were going to buy it and take the company back private, take it off the stock market. I don't have any idea how that works. But that was the rumor. And I actually think that if they did that, the quality, which is already good, would get better, just because you would not be beholden to shareholders and stuff like that anymore. It would be sort of, I think, more akin to the Attitude Era type stuff, which I think all things in pro wrestling are cyclical. You have the eras where you go more family friendly and then you push the envelope a little bit. I think we are nearing an envelope pushing time, perhaps. And so if that Saudi company were to buy it and take it private, I think that would make things easier. But again, I mean, I'm not a businessman. That's for sure. So I don't really know, but it would be bizarre for a McMahon not to be running WWE. And you saw Stephanie step aside for a little bit. I don't know how permanent that is. Like, it is cool for me as a lifelong fan, and Shawn Michaels in particular, and DX. I'm such a huge fan of theirs, that you've got Triple H running the creative day to day on WWE main roster, and then Shawn Michaels is running things in NXT.
That's exciting.
Yes. So like that for me, it's like, wow, like they did it. They were the guys always knocking on Vince's door, being like, we have this idea, that idea, and now they're implementing them on the day-to-day basis. I think it's a cool story, and I think that Vince's relationship with them over the years is pretty cool too, and just to see how this has come about is neat.
Dig it. Robyn, you got anything else standing out for you? Are we talking Seth Rogen versus Logan Paul? Maybe you like some more chunky boys with Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt, or maybe we're getting into a creepy angle with Dominic and Rey Mysterio. That is definitely the creepiest match on the card, but maybe something I didn't mention.
I mean, I always like to see the ladies, so I mean, Charlotte and Rhea is going to be interesting.
Is that Rhea Ripley?
Yes.
Okay. Rhea Ripley.
I was introduced to her through the Royal Rumble, and I just went like, she looks like Marilyn Manson, but like with a woman's body, a very thick, muscular woman's body. But like, I'm just like, is she supposed to look like Marilyn Manson? And I said something totally derogatory on the waffle box, except no substitutes. It's the best part of Wednesdays that I won't repeat here. But
She's totally metal and badass, and I think this is sort of a get back because Charlotte beat her at WrestleMania a few years ago. I think it was 2020. I think it was the pandemic year. I mean, they all runs together at this point. But so I think it's kind of a get back. The interesting thing is that she's the heel, Rhea. That is. Charlotte's the sort of the babyface coming into this. But I think the fan sentiment is sort of flipped on that, even though Rhea's done a great job, being bad. And I think where her heel chops are most served are in the Dominic Mysterio storyline, because they're sort of an item in storyline, and which has just been fantastic to watch. But I do expect Rhea Ripley to get the win over Charlotte and become champion. I think her and Dom have really been the standouts from that Judgment Day stable. So I'm excited to see Rhea and Charlotte. I think they'll be great sort of combatants for one another again at WrestleMania. They're both just so talented. So I am excited for that one. And I'm excited, while we're talking about the women, Damage Control, Bayley's faction taking on Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus. So two legends from, women's wrestling's past, and teaming up with Becky Lynch, who is very much so about the present and future of women's wrestling. That one excites me a whole lot too. I think that's going to be, when I was talking about the eye test for a WrestleMania match, that passes the eye test. You got two legends teaming up with a legend of today against this evil group. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Bailey's a local girl from San Jose. So it's exciting to see her. I don't know her. I never met her. I was surprised to hear that she came up through Kirk White's BTW. I'm just like, yeah, good for her.
Yeah. She's a Bay Area success story too, just like Powerhouse Hobbs over on AEW, which, by the way, shout out Powerhouse Hobbs. It was recently East Palo Alto made it Will Hobbs Day.
I heard that. That was amazing.
How cool is that? So
cool.
Yeah,
dude.
Very into that.
He's a success story unto his own, and I'm happy to have met him. We ain't friends. I'm not saying we're fingers crossed close, but yeah, he was a baby when he was on my ring crew. Okay. Wow. By the way, a very tall, stocky baby. He wasn't even thick. He was just tall, and he's just like, all right, I like this guy's attitude. He's going to do something, and you're like, oh, he's going to do all of that. Good. And he's just starting. He's just starting.
Pretty dang cool.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. Universal Championship. Roman Reigns defending against Cody Rhodes. What can we expect from this?
I am so excited for this main event. I think this is, man, this is up there for some of the matches I've been most excited about my entire life as a wrestling fan. And I am I think Roman Reigns has done a miraculous job with this run as the undisputed champion, the whole bloodline storyline. He is on a truly legendary level right now. And now I think it's time to really cement the elevation of Cody Rhodes' return to WWE, and as they are saying, the line going into this story. And for me, why I'm so excited about is the Cody Rhodes story. I think is one that's so easy to relate to. As pro wrestling fans, we nerd out to it because we all know who Dusty Rhodes is, his father, Gold Dust, his brother. Cody Rhodes' run in WWE. We saw it. We saw, for me personally, I had nothing to do with Cody's success, but he's had a lot to do with mine. He's been so good to me in my early sort of career. That first WrestleMania that I worked as press, we did Radio Row, and he did an interview with us as Stardust. And to this day, it's probably my favorite interview I've ever done with anyone, be it, wrestler, athlete, you name it. And he just, we sort of struck up a kinship there. He dubbed me Bimbo Jimbo, which was my on-air name for many years after that. Because at that time, I didn't have a name. And he stops dead in the middle of the interview. He's like, wait, why is he Baby Huey and you're just James? I was like, funny thing, we were talking about that. We need to come up with a name. And he just threw out Bimbo Jimbo. And I was like, well, to be named by Cody Rhodes at Pro Wrestling, I'll go with that. And legitimately one of my favorites even heading into that. And I saw his very first televised WWE appearance. I was there in Detroit when they were inducting his father, Dusty Rhodes, into the Hall of Fame. He was up on the stage with his brother, Dustin. And so, he has this incredible story. It is such a huge part of, pro wrestling lineage and legacy and all these incredible things. And I think, for the people that have followed his career so closely, we know how talented he is, and how every gimmick they gave him, whether some people maybe would not have been able to make the most of it. In my opinion, Cody has made the most of every opportunity and every gimmick that was ever given to him. The grooming bit, I don't know if a lot of people remember, like the facial grooming skits that he used to do, but he would do stuff about like manscaping and everything like that, his vignettes back in the day, dashing Cody Rhodes, the Prince of Pro Wrestling, when they went the Dr. Doom route and he became undashing because of the injury he sustained and was wearing the mask, even though he was totally fine.
Stupid mask.
Yeah, it was, it just, that to me throughout his career showcase, like whatever they give him, he is going to make an absolute ace, a home run. And so I expected him to have happened for him already. And I remember when they made him Stardust. I actually really enjoyed Stardust. Maybe I'm a part of the extreme minority because I know it's sort of a sore subject or whatever. I saw his dedication to that character. That again, I thought he made it work, and he made it work to the level where he had a very high profile match at SummerSlam with Stephen Amell, which was all the rage at the time with Arrow. And so then he leaves, right? And he leaves the independent circuit. And I remember the day that he left, and I posted this thing on Instagram because I knew he wanted more. And that, he'd always be a world champion in my eyes. I thought it was a missed opportunity by WWE, like straight up, that they didn't make him their standard bearer. And he leaves, he plies his trade on the independents. He goes to Japan, and you could see him, sort of taking things from the places that he'd worked. And then that helped form the foundation of what would become AEW. So he starts his own pro wrestling company with his cohorts there. It becomes the most successful second promotion since WCW closed its doors. Incredible accomplishment in its own right. I mean, unbelievable while he's still wrestling. And then whatever happens there, he decides he wants to come back because he's got unfinished business in WWE. I mean, this is both part of the theater and part of real life, which in my opinion is what makes the best pro wrestling storylines. When you can blend the two, that is, as Queen would say, it's a kind of magic. You don't know where the reality and where the show sort of stop and start. And that for me, and again, as somebody who has been very much so on the periphery, but following his career so closely, I am so in the tank for this. You wouldn't believe the fact that, he comes back at WrestleMania last year, and like I had tears in my eyes. It was a huge moment when he came back, and I didn't believe he was coming back until I saw him come out on the stage last year. And then he gets hurt. He wrestles a match with Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell with a completely torn pec. I don't know if you've seen the images of this.
I saw the after pictures.
It is gnarly. The one of the best moments, he takes off his robe. So before you've seen, and he takes it off, the crowd audibly gasping at how he looks. And he goes forward with the match, and it's maybe the match of the year. And so then he's on the shelf, but the timeline, I mean, like God's plan. The fact that he is ready to come back for Royal Rumble, like honestly, the injury to me is a blessing in disguise because it keeps him fresh and ready for this moment to win the Royal Rumble and now to be challenging Roman Reigns, this undefeated champion. He's on this incredible run. It's maybe the biggest WrestleMania main event ever. I mean, it's certainly in recent memory. And the way they built it up and everything like that. So I can't wait for it. And I think they're going to be great dancing partners with one another. I think they're going to put on a classic, and I've got some Cody Rhodes branded cigars ready to light up with my friends when he wins. I mean, wow. I am fully invested in this, and it's exciting. And I love, because it's hard being a good guy in pro wrestling right now and getting the crowd really behind you, because bad guys are cool. Everybody loves Darth Vader and Voldemort and all that stuff. And it's kind of hard to be a cool good guy. So it's thrilling to me when Cody Rhodes comes out and he's getting the appropriate reaction. I mean, back in the day, even John Cena, famously was the first guy that the crowd really was divided on, sort of almost, like John Cena sucks, like I was never a part of that, but And it's funny now, the sort of revisionist history that everybody's now that you love him now that he's been gone. But for me, this main event, I mean, it's huge business for WWE. It's huge for Cody. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really special night.
It's amazing to look at the top stars on this card and then remember their debuts. So I remember when Dominic was a child, and also his custody was being decided over a ladder match. I wanted to get more into that, but we got to move forward. I remember Bobby Lashley being the next big thing. Black Brock Lesnar. And then they let him talk. And that kind of derailed things for a while. I remember Finn Balor coming out with the face paint and everything. You're like, oh my God. All right. I remember John Cena facing Kurt Angle in just some maroon tights and boots and a flat top. And you're like, where's this going? Like, you would never imagine this guy would be like the biggest pro wrestler next to The Rock and Hulk Hogan, and now is making movies.
It's crazy to see the journeys and how much time is, the unrelenting river, as it were. And that's why I think for, wrestling fans, I think they like the memories that we have. I think that's what makes it so special, is that, and when wrestling really gets it right, they can harken back to that stuff from the past. Like the recognition of what happened before immediately resonates with wrestling fans. And I think that's why they played it exactly right with the Cody and Roman Reigns feud, is that they haven't ran away from the fact that Cody left and started another company. They haven't ran away from the Stardust stuff. They haven't ran away from who his father is and the fact that his father trained Roman Reigns in NXT and all. They've played all the right notes, and the build to this match too. And I neglected to say that, like, the promos that both Cody, Roman, and Paul Heyman have cut in the build to this, second to none. That's why I say, like, the build to this main event, I think, is the best build that we've seen since the build with Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26. Which was very personal to me. My favorite pro wrestler is Shawn Michaels. I think the greatest video package WWE has ever done. Watch it as soon as you're done watching this interview. It's the Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker video package for WrestleMania 26. It's set to the cover of Running Up That Hill. It's done by Placebo, and it is a very, very powerful package. I watch it on the regular. Just super good stuff. So now here we are. Can you tell I'm excited for the main WrestleMania?
You're making me excited, which is a good thing. It's a great thing, even. So I want to ask a little bit more about Cody Rhodes real quick. So I know he left WWE. He got involved in AEW, and the impression I had was this was his company. He got some dude named Tony Khan, who's a football owner or whatever, to fund it all. But I was under the impression this is his company, and then he leaves and comes back to WWE. Do you have any information about is he still just involved, like, on a financial matter? Like, is he still getting back end checks from AEW just as an owner? Was he ever an owner?
I honestly don't know the sort of semantics behind that. I think he was a VP or an EVP of some sort with there. I think his wife Brandy was like the chief branding officer or something like that, or maybe CMO. But they were obviously heavily involved in the front office side of things there. I find it highly unlikely that it would still be involved in that sense. Maybe I'm wrong, because his talent contract could have, very well ended, and maybe there's some type of other vesting thing there. Nothing that I'm aware of. But I think that was what the fact that he came back. I mean, it just seems so unlikely because he was so entwined with the very creation of AEW.
Craziness. I'm hearing something in the background here. It's time for the Robyn Seto Cameo Party. Robyn Seto Cameo Party. Robyn Seto. Oh my God.
Yes.
15 months. We've been waiting for this. I don't even remember who won the last match. I don't remember who my last opponent was, but I cannot wait for this. I love this game. It's my favorite game. I'm happy it's returning. Please explain for Mr. Kincaid, how this job works.
All right, this is the Robyn Seto Cameo Party. You're aware of the website Cameo, James?
I am.
Yes.
I've gotten a cameo for a friend. I've received a cameo from a friend.
Oh, fun.
Yes. So I've looked into cameos and been like, nope, too rich for my blood. So yes, I'm aware.
Yes, it's the wonderful website where celebrities will make a custom video message for you for a fee that I believe they set. And we play a little Price is Right type game where I make a list of various celebrities. This week's theme is wrestling. So
what a coincidence.
let's see. Oh, yeah. So I have 5 for you guys to guess the price, like Price is Right. Whoever gets closest without going over gets a point. And if need be, we have a super secret 6th tiebreaker. So Kush has played this many times. I'm not sure how many he's won.
Very few. Like I've won like 5 over the 40 we've done. So the odds are in your favor, James Kincaid. And we did flip a coin backstage. It came up tails, and you get the first pick, sir.
All right.
So let me tell you, first up, we have Mr. Bret the Hitman Hart.
Bret Hart, the Hitman. My favorite pro wrestler's ultimate rival.
The best there was, the best there ever will be. I have a Bret Hart story, but that's off air. That's off air.
Very, very interesting. Bret Hart. So I'm just gonna pick a monetary number without going over.
What do you think Bret Hart is charging for like a minute custom video for somebody's grandma or something?
I'm gonna go 75.
All right.
I think because Bret could definitely charge more.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he would, because Bret like he is a good guy and he does love the fans. So I'm gonna go 75.
All right.
I also agree.
Mr.
Bret is a good dude. He loves the fans, but he's also still Bret Hart, and his legend is immortal. Like the day he dies, he will still live on in infamy. Okay, and because of that, he cannot just charge $75. Anyone can come up with $75. So I'm saying Bret Hart is charging $350 for a cameo, and probably some of it's going to charity.
Mercy.
All right. Well, Bret Hart is charging $150 for a cameo.
Wow.
So
still amazing.
Point for James.
All right.
Yeah.
The Price is Right rules will help me here.
Second, we have the mind, the body, the tinfoil hat, Jesse Ventura.
So Jesse Ventura is an interesting cat. Pro wrestler, actor, governor, Navy SEAL. Thank you for your service, Jesse. Noted conspiracy theorist. I'm going to go 200 on the body.
200, baby. All right.
I think that's a very good guess because, again, he's also a legend, but he's got fanatics outside of pro wrestling. Again, he was a governor of Minnesota. He's been in Predator. Like, people just love, like, I ain't got time to bleed. He had a short-lived TV series on A&E about conspiracy theories where Jesse the Body Ventura single-handedly with his team is going to face these conspiracies head on. And like he talked with like a woman who was in the Pentagon that survived a 9/11 attack, and it's just like, you already know where that wreckage is. I can protect you. It was like, who the fuck are you, dude? By the way, 5 years later, he's hiding out somewhere in the highlands of Mexico. So he's off the grid. It's amazing that he's even accepting cameos. But
is he really in Mexico?
He was as a pre-pandemic. Maybe things have changed.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know that. He also, I think, thinks very highly of him. I think he loves him some Jesse, so that's why I went to 200.
I'm just alleging this, but I think he is one of those folks who's like, Trump wins the election, we're leaving. And I think he actually, of the 1 million people who said that, I think he actually left. And maybe he did before.
He
Trump,
actually did,
but he left. He left the country. So I'm actually going to say probably not their best guess. Maybe I should go lower, but I'm going to say $250 for Jesse the Body, the Mind Ventura. This book is fantastic.
Well,
FYI,
he could be a $300 a pop, so you might win this one.
We're gonna floor you with this one. He's charging a paltry $140.
Wow.
So
that's a weird specific number
here.
too.
So nobody gets the point there. Then,
no.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
I apologize,
right.
Jesse.
All right. Our third one is Jake the Snake Roberts.
What?
Jake the Snake.
No, I heard. I honestly thought he was deceased.
No, he's doing great. He's turned his life around.
No, the snake died.
Well,
yeah, I remember that day.
Jump on it. Yeah,
I remember that day. Oh my god.
Poor
KTVU Channel 2, Saturday
morning,
11 a.m. Fucking the earthquake squashed Damien the Python. Oh, it was a Sunday. I'm sorry, because the pay-per-view was later that night, and I was like, "What's going on with Damien?"
Poor Damien. Snake burgers, courtesy of Earthquake. So who's setting the line here first?
James, what do you think?
Whew. Jake the Snake, again, he's a WWE Hall of Famer, inventor of the DDT. It's just one of the most iconic characters in pro wrestling history ever. And I think he knows that. And I think that, inflation's a thing. So if Bret Hart was 150, I'm going to say that Jake, I'm going to put Jake at 150.
Okay, Kush. What do you think of that?
152, because Jake the Snake Roberts is all that and a bag of chips. Like, he's amazing story. If you can find the WWE documentary that they did, and it's not flattering by any means, but you're just like, oh shit, this is the life you led. Wow. Dude, you will be left speechless and a little sad. So, but I think Jake the Snake is a little more down to earth, and he might even be charging less than 150. But I'm still in 152.
Okay. He's charging 125.
Wow.
125.
Whoa.
Ooh.
We were close, though. We were close. Just a little overshot the mark a little bit.
I also got petty, and that's I paid the cost for that. It's still 1-0. Still 1-0.
$1, right. Bob.
We got fourth up, Mick Foley.
Oh wow,
Mick Foley. James, what do you think Mick Foley wants for a cameo?
I mean, this is interesting because when you get Mick Foley, potentially you could get all three faces of Foley in one cameo. You get Mankind, you get Dude Love, you get Cactus Jack, all in one cameo. You could probably even get him pretending to be Santa Claus. He's a big Santa guy. So a multi-talented and multi sort of character cameo. What kind of price would that command from the hardcore legend? But he also does love the fans. I'm going to go 90.
Okay, 90. All right, Kush.
Not only do I think that's a good bet, but again, he not only is he about the fans, but he's got a lot of charity work. And he's that dude's like, I'm living a comfortable life. I don't need any extra money, but if I can raise funds for this charity that I super believe in, I will. I'm going to say $100.
Nice. One up in me.
100
or 100.
Mick Foley.
Come on, 95.
Mick Foley is charging $149. So Kush.
Point to Kush.
He's got a point. Oh,
this is amazing. We're 1-1. This is dramatic, James.
Yes, it is. It's a low scoring game here.
All right, we have for our fifth and final here, Kevin Nash.
Oh,
James,
man.
what do you think Kevin Nash wants?
Well, I think I know what Kevin Nash. Never mind. But I am a big Kevin Nash fan. Story. I love big sexy Kevin Nash. Huge fan of the Click, the NWO, Diesel, the whole deal, and I mean, just shout out to him too as being somebody that I could listen to reading the phone book. I think he is just such a great talker and storyteller. I really, really enjoy Kevin Nash. So shout out to him. Had the pleasure of moderating a panel at Stockton Con that was for the NWO. It was him, the late great Scott Hall, and X-Pac Sean Waltman. But how much does he charge on Cameo? Woo! Oh man. I'm going to give it a flat 100. I think $100 is the move that I make. I'm tempted to go $1, Bob, on here, but I'm going to go 100.
All right.
I don't think you're wrong with wanting to go $1, but I also have a Kevin Nash story, but I also know that he's done more than just pro wrestling and been part of the most historic pro wrestling feuds. He's also an actor, and he does this and that and a few other things. So he also doesn't want to be on Cameo. He doesn't want, much like Ice-T taking a break during SVU filmings and doing cameos. Like, he's just like, I don't want to deal with that bullshit. So he's charging $300, and he's like, if someone pays that, I guess I'll do it. Like, okay, I think that's Kevin Nash's attitude.
He's a big part about. He was a big proponent and a big sort of mover with guaranteed contracts in pro wrestling. So you're not wrong. I mean, could be.
I also understand he's going through some emotional stuff these days, so I hope he's doing well. But I think he's asking for as much as he can get. $300, Bob.
All right. Well, Kevin Nash wants $200 for a cameo, which means point for James. Congratulations, Mr. James Kincaid. You're this week's winner. Hooray!
Seto Cameo Party.
I gotta say, amazing game. Like really. I mean, Robyn, credit to you. I like a really cool concept for a game in general. Like that's a great idea.
It's fun. We have fun here.
I like it.
Yeah, man. Sorely been missing from the Microdose. Happy to have had it tonight. Hope to have it again. If we don't, well, folks, that makes this episode all that more special. Guys, is there anything else we want to talk about?
Well, I do want to plug what I got going on down there in LA at Knucklehead Hollywood. I will be there with Circle 6, #C6 Live. If you can't attend it, I mean, it's going to be on our YouTube, our Twitch, our Facebook stream. We're going to make it very difficult for you to not see it. It's completely free on stream. $6 at the door at Knucklehead for the whole day when you come in. I mean, but if you leave, you come back, you got to pay again. But yeah, you can come see like all this program starting at 2:00 on Thursday. I think Thursday goes all the way until 11, which by the way, it's going to be doing karaoke with Minoru Suzuki at 11 p.m. So that's going to be super fun. Then Friday things kick off again. I'll be there as well. And then Saturday night after night one of WrestleMania, they're going to be doing Bar Room Blitz, which is their fusion of very much so sort of like the roots of the rock and wrestling connection. You know, bands and pro wrestling unite under one banner there at Knucklehead. So yeah, come out, see Circle 6, WrestleMania week, Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday night after night one, #C6 Live. So be sure to follow that hashtag or follow Circle 6 on social media to see where you can come out and see us. I'll be doing commentary on a few of the streams there. So I'm very excited to be, working WrestleMania week and helping out Circle 6. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's what's up. Robyn Seto, anything you want to plug?
I've been doing thumbnail artwork for our friend Otto Pataki's channel, GenerationWhyEntertainments. It's kind of like covering a lot of different just shows and stuff that he likes. A lot of stuff that millennials like or would find nostalgic. So you can check those out on YouTube, Generation Y Entertainment. Otherwise, I'm not really doing too much, just kind of hanging out and trying to live my life.
That's what's up. I'm very excited to hear about you working with Otto Pataki. You know, I do some things around here. Friend of the family, Mike Fish, he's got a little show called The Original Waffle Box. You accept no substitutes because it is the best part of Wednesdays. We talk about everything and nothing all at the same time. Trapdoor segments, movie reviews, middle of the show quizzes. It's all good. Back to those movie reviews. We just talked about John Wick 4. So if you haven't seen it within a week, maybe you want to see it, maybe you don't after my review. I don't know. I'm actually not a big fan of John Wick 4. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
But we're looking forward to you checking that out. You get a full episode and you get the little movie review segment all in all. But otherwise, for Robyn Seto, for James Kincaid, I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
For you, are we talking Seth Rogen versus Logan Paul?